This is NTV and welcome to NTV at One. My name is Malcolm Sima. Let's have a look at the headlines first. Millions of Muslims in Uganda join the rest of the world to celebrate Eid holiday, marking the end of the fasting season of Ramadan. And making gains, AMISOM troops capture a cache of weapons from the Al-Shabaab in Mogadishu. Also coming up, an ease in West Africa as Liberia closes border over Ebola threat. Welcome to Ntv at One and happy Eid. The Mufti of Uganda, Ramadan Mubaje, has warned Muslims against ignoring Islamic pillars as they celebrate Eid today. The 5 pillars are faith, prayers, almsgiving, fasting during Ramadan, and the pilgrimage to Mecca. He says celebrating Eid Mubarak does not mean they have to relax in their faith. Addressing hundreds of Muslim faithfuls who turned up for Eid prayers at Old Kampala Mosque this morning, Sheikh Mubaje also called for peaceful means to stop wars going on in the Middle East.
We pray to Allah to reward those who have fasted this holy month of Ramadan with joys and the favors of the Day of Judgment. I also encourage you to continue and fast the 6 days of Sittat. In the same vein, I also urge you to pay Zakat al-Fitr. Sisters, all the 5 pillars of Islam are equally important. The Shahada, the Salah, the Zakah, fasting, and Hijjah, the pilgrimage. However, most of the believers are forgetting to fulfill some pillars such as Zakah and Hijjah. Those who are able to pay Zakah should do so because it is a pillar in Islam. And those who are able to go to Mecca, I urge you to do so. Don't waste your time because Allah knows how long we are going to remain on this earth. In fact, the whole world is at war because some people regard themselves as more important than others, more valuable than the others.
The UN-backed peacekeeping force in Somalia, AMISOM, together with AMISOM and the Somali National Army, have captured an assortment of weapons and ammunition from Al-Shabaab suspects in the capital, Mogadishu, and this while carrying out a cordon search in Mogadishu.
These are some of the weapons seized by the AMISOM troops and the National Army of Somalia in Mogadishu. The UN-backed peacekeeping troops and the National Army may have beefed up their presence in Somalia, in Mogadishu, but there are still pockets of threats from the Al-Shabaab. Some of the weapons, tortoise grenades, multi-grenade launchers, 82mm mortar fuses, rocket-propelled grenade pipes, as well as RPG shells and guns. Also recovered were sniper rifles with attached telescopes, anti-tank bombs, and various types of guns and ammunition. The AMISOM Force Commander General Silas Ntigurira says such operations are part of the wider efforts to improve security in Mogadishu and Somalia in general.
We conducted a cordon search in Mogadishu and we captured a lot of military equipment which you can see here. And some of them was already fixed. For example, you can see these militias which was already fixed to be used this night.
General Silas believes the seizure of the ammunition is a good sign to the international community that the federal government of Somalia and the Somali people will get peace and security.
International community which ensure the federal government of Somalia and all Somali's people that very soon Somalia will get peace and stability.
The sector commander, Brigadier Dikolum, called for vigilance, warning that Al-Shabaab often try to hide within communities.
No Al-Shabaab has been written that I am Al-Shabaab. Al-Shabaab uses any equipment from anybody, even if it is equipment from AMISOM. If Al-Shabaab gets it, they will use it.
The cordon and search is part of Operation Eagle that was launched recently by AMISOM troops and the Somalian National Army in efforts to break the Al-Shabaab's influence in the region.
Ugandan researchers have introduced 4 varieties against cassava brown streak disease, with 3 set for distribution in 2 years' time. The news of the breakthrough comes as Uganda is recognized as a center of regional excellence for cassava research ahead of countries like Kenya, Tanzania and Ethiopia. Now in the studio with me is Dr. Titus Alkai. You will be telling us what the institute is doing to curb the disease. But first of all, let's have a look at this report.
4 countries in Eastern Africa, Kenya, Uganda, Ethiopia and Tanzania, are partnering to use science and technology to bolster agriculture.
Cassava is the crop that will manage the incoming climate change, because it's a crop which is very resilient. It can survive in marginal soil, rainfall, and with very limited input.
Indeed, the demand is rising for this staple food across Africa, Asia and South America that can withstand any weather vagaries. About 70% of Uganda's households use it as a staple crop.
And then in Africa, Uganda is only number 6 in production.
Tanzania produces more cassava than Uganda, but falls short in research and development.
Up to the world standard. And in this region, Uganda is number 1.
In the early 80s, 90s and the early 2000s, the cassava mosaic disease destroyed many cassava varieties. Up to 500 were lost, and this got researchers working.
For the last 20 years, we managed to release varieties which are resistant to cassava mosaic disease. And up to now, we have 19 new varieties which are with the community.
Dr. Chris Omongo of the National Crops Resource Research Institute, NACRI, says the latest threat is now cassava brown streak disease.
Now, the difference between the two is that brown streak disease affects the root, which is the economic part that families use, industrialists use, while cassava mosaic disease does not affect that so much.
The NACRI scientists have developed 4 varieties that are tolerant to the disease. The variety Nasi 14 is widely supplied to farmers. A food source for many, cassava's importance is increasing globally, and not just for eating.
We have started very vigorous research to add value to cassava. You would want to know that now cassava is being used in biscuit industry, cassava is being used in Uganda here in paper industry, cassava is being used in textile industry. Cassava, when you go to the supermarkets, you will find flour, which you will find maganjo flour, composite flour, you will find cakes, you will even find white flour, which is just purely cassava. You will find porridge, flour for porridge.
It is also being used in the feed industry for livestock and poultry.
We need to intensify investment. We need to intensify on capacity building. We need to build our team to be very competent and committed.
Uganda is now planning several projects to understand cassava, amongst them how it is bred, how value addition can be heightened, upscaling of technology, disease surveillance, its socio-economic impact, conservation and exploitation, as well as integration. An ongoing conference, the 3rd review for the Cassava Regional Center of Excellence and the Cassava Scientific Conference, will discuss further a number of issues raised by Dr. Omongo.
And once there is a lot of interest from private sector, it works. And that is what we're expecting.
To be reviewed is the World Bank-funded Eastern African Agricultural Productivity Program, EAP, operational in the 4 countries. The 4 Eastern African countries, just like China, Thailand, Colombia, which are doing well with the cassava crop, also want to be counted amongst the best globally, since they've been with this rumble crop for so long. Florence Nalimba, NTV.
Joining me in the studio now is Dr. Titus Alichai, a plant virologist with National Crops Resources Research Institute, to shed more light on diseases affecting the cassava crop. But first of all, you're very welcome, Doctor.
A pleasure.
Exactly. Where is the institute not visible? We don't hear the works.
To showcase what we are doing to address issues to do with this important crop.
All right, let's start now with as many as 500 varieties of cassava were destroyed by cassava brown streak and cassava mosaic. How did that happen? How did it come about?
There are a number of viruses that affect cassava, and in this particular case we had one severe type, a new type of virus that emerged. And the cassava crop was not prepared for this, so we got what we call an epidemic. That's a new virus type coming into encounter with cassava, and cassava available at that time could not resist. So this swept across the country.
What can farmers do, apparently, to make sure that they protect their crops from being affected?
One is to promptly report any new observations of something which is unusual in their fields, so that researchers can begin to understand what this could be. And also we work together with farmers in coming up with these solutions. If we want to come up with a variety that we're going to give back to the farmers, then we need to work together with them in the selecting of these new varieties so that it is acceptable to them, it is normal food for them to eat, and then they can grow it on their farms.
So what is being done locally and probably around the region to try and improve surveillance?
We conduct annual disease surveys to check for where this disease is becoming a problem, where it has not been reported before, and areas that are at risk of invasion of these new virus types. So we go out annually and map out where these diseases are and the magnitude of these diseases. So that's one thing we do. We also check for the virus types. Viruses. That's our core activity, to come up with new varieties that are tolerant to these viruses and how they can infect these new varieties of cassava, and how the new viruses may spread in the farmers' fields.
Okay, so, but when you move around institutes that are mainly funded by governments across the region, they'll tell you they have a problem with funding. But what challenges beyond that do scientists like you face in trying to combat diseases like this?
As an institution, we are young in this country. NARO, the National Cultural Research Organization, where we work, is just about 20 years. So there are issues to do with the capacity, both infrastructure and human resource. And that's one of the things we have constantly addressed. And that is what has led us to us being the host for this Cassava Regional Center of Excellence, so that we support just not work in Uganda, but work elsewhere in other countries in the region.
Thank you very much, Dr. Titus Alichai. We will be getting back to you to hear how updates on how far you've gone in combating that disease.
Thank you.
And we're now going to take a few messages here. We'll be back with Ntv At One. More stories coming up.
4th October 2014 at Hotel Africana. All investments implemented from 2012 to 2013 are eligible to participate for the awards. Registration forms are available online at www.
Lie down.
Nurse, you left me here
It's
too.
okay. Just relax. I'm going to come and
Help
check
my
you.
baby.
Just keep moving. Madam, don't stress her, baby. Just relax. Do you have any?
Nothing.
Oh my God, this is my life every day. Can one midwife deliver 5 women at a go?
This is a call on government to recruit more health workers, especially midwives, and ensure adequate staffing of health facilities. This message is brought to you by Uganda National Health Consumers Organization and Voices for Health Rights.
On the next episode, brought to you by...
At Orange, we know you want to do more on the internet. That's why we bring you happy hour day and night.
La Patrona.
And a murderer. You'd sell your soul to the devil, wouldn't you?
I double the offer. I'll give you $2 million.
He said, and believe me, nobody will save you from going to prison.
It can't
something wrong with my baby?
How do you find the defendant?
You better kill me, you bastard! You still owe me for what you did to my son!
La Patrona.
You can download movies at the lowest prices another fast from Orange. Dial *133# to buy a data bundle. Happy hour changes with Orange. Today changes with Orange.
Welcome back. This is Ntv at One. Now, over 500 people were left in the cold following a pre-dawn demolition exercise to clear the businesses on the rail reserve in the Kampala suburbs of Banda, Nalukorongo and Namuongo. These demolitions followed a 28-day ultimatum issued by the KCCA in conjunction with Uganda Railways and Rift Valley Railways to evict anyone in a 30 meters radius in the railway reserve. Many residents that claim to have lived on this land for over 8 years say they do not have anywhere else to go.
Gavumenti lwaki batugamba tetwagala kola bavubuka niye lwaki ate bye tutandiisewo boonoona byonoone.
Now, to get more women in Uganda to deliver from health facilities, a lot has been invested in terms of creativity and resources. First, the government's introduction of a mama kit, and now the Red Cross, which is providing an even bigger bag containing bed sheets, towel and soap for the baby's care after birth to encourage more women to give birth in health centers. The greatest challenge, however, is that, like the government kit, there have been registered shortages for months, which have plummeted attendance. While these are all worthwhile, innovations sustainability is proving to be very difficult.
Health Focus is brought to you by Uganda National Health Consumers Organization and Voices for Health Rights.
In Finland, each woman, no matter her economic status, is given at delivery a box for the baby. The box includes essentials for a child as well as a book on breastfeeding for the new mom. The box is large enough to act as a crib for the baby. The Baby in a Box initiative in the country has contributed to making it #1 in the world. The closest Uganda comes to the Baby in a Box initiative is the Mama Kit. This has helped increase the number of women going to health facilities, but only those run by the government. The Mama Kit contains a polythene bag to lay on the bed during birth, leather blades for the cord, cotton wool, gauze, and 3 pairs of gloves.
This cotton even is too little because a mother bleeds for how long after delivery? This one here, and they bleed sometimes heavily. So maybe only 2 days it's done. At least if they could provide a bigger.
A similar project has been undertaken by Red Cross Uganda with the help of the Japanese Red Cross in 2 districts, AMURU and Kitgum. The women receive a bigger bag than the Mama Kit to cajole them to deliver in health facilities.
There is a bed sheet, there is a towel, and then they provide a bar of soap and a bigger, bigger cotton roll.
We don't give everyone the most vulnerable, and it depends on the assessments. We don't deal with assessments by other people, but our community volunteers.
And this is where the challenge lies for the village health teams.
You find that in the community like this one, there are more than. So we try to do our criteria to select at least the most vulnerable.
But they're all vulnerable.
They're all vulnerable.
Deliveries in health facilities in AMURU district are below 35%. Now this is really worrying. However, they have been improving along the way, and incentives given to pregnant women once in a while have also helped.
Initially it was around 21%.
But for this running financial year, we have gone up to 34.1%. But I would like to say that mothers come late for antenatal care in the facility.
At the fourth visit, only about 3 of every 10 women will turn up. While the Mama Kit and Mama Bag are welcome innovations, they come with challenges, the most outstanding being that they are not sustainable.
The community is owning the project, and even when it comes to an end, they know how the Mama Bag looks like and how they can also improvise to have a Mama Bag.
Sadly, the community has many impoverished people, and the district's budget does not favor sustainability.
The district sometimes tried giving the patients to the mother, but do we sustain it? Yeah.
The district by itself?
Yes, when we were still in the major Gulu. But we need to look at certain things which are sustainable.
Already, the Red Cross Mama Bags have been out of supply for a number of months, even as the project is set to close next year, in 2015.
What we need to tell the mother is that they should understand the importance of delivering a health facility, especially at the moment when we are interested in option B+.
The leaning is now toward village health teams in the communities.
They know they are people and they know how they behave.
They encourage the vulnerable mothers to access support, give birth in an hygienic place like the facilities.
One volunteer, Alfred, says it is not that easy.
Some of them, they do go to a health center, but others, they still believe in other traditional norms. Because in our sub-plan here, they don't want to remove this placenta.
Others are limited by the long distances and bad roads, which make any form of transport hard to access.
They end up delivering with the TBAs, which is against the policy now.
However, it is not a given that if they make it to the health centers, they'll be helped.
We have very few mothers, the midwives. There are 17 midwives, out of which 5 are already in schools.
Without the required personnel, how do we ensure that mothers deliver safely? And I think this is one of the causes of, frustration.
The Chief Administrative Officer, Martin Unzia, feels that it is about time the salary of midwives was increased to attract midwives in private practice to join the government health facilities. Other challenges the district faces in improving maternal health include lack of ambulances for referral. Only one is available and it is in bad shape.
The other issue is the issue of network, just for communication, especially in areas of referrals. Because how do you call an ambulance to really help a mother who needs referral?
Supplies inclusive of equipment are also inadequate in almost all health centers. So incentives, though vital, need to be matched with other factors, including infrastructure, human resource, as well as supplies.
And then the space is not really enough. If we have a mother delivering and also there is a mother who they're conducting antenatal, the place will become squeezed because it is the same block.
Countries like Finland, Norway and Netherlands at the top have improved all these areas. Uganda has a long way to go. The infrequently supplied mama bags on their own are just not enough to meet the grave need. Florence Halimba, NTV in AMURU district.
Health Focus is brought to you by Uganda National Health Consumers Organization and Voices for Health Rights.
That's all the time we had for NTV at One. But we want to know how Ugandans are performing at the Commonwealth coming up next on Muli Gwevye Mizanyo. And David Romansi and the team are coming up to bring you on what's happening in the world of sport. Enjoy your afternoon and stay tuned to NTV.